The best thing about being a regular subscriber of this YouTube channel is that people might laugh, people might call us crazy, people might call us stupid and uninformed in the markets, but in the end, ladies and gents, we are raking up that fucking cash out here. Shout out to those of you that have been staying tuned to this YouTube channel, because Bitcoin has now broken above that $30,000 bam level just yet again right here, which is absolutely fantastic. And what I'm loving about this is this gives me even more confirmation that Bitcoin is in this kind of sideways tracking right now of basically more or less consolidating off that low that we set off the FTX crash, just more or less doing something a little bit like this. Now, the question, of course, is now that we're back at the top of the range, or when we're at the bottom of the range, are we going to break below or are we going to break above? And that's what I want to break down for you guys in this video. I think that, Bitcoin has a great opportunity at breaking up. I've already been telling you guys about this over the last couple of days and weeks. Of course, on this YouTube channel, those of you that have been staying tuned are going to be knowing all about that. So thank you all so much for the absolutely foundational, beautiful support that you guys have been giving us on this YouTube channel right here. It's clearly paying off incredibly well. You guys have seen how my positions have been going in this market. This is a massively out-of-date screenshot of my Bitcoin position. I have more than doubled my money on this position. It's gone absolutely amazingly. I've done the same thing on Tron. Tron has made me so much money in this market. Most people are not making money in this market. They're, doubting these runs. They're just on the wrong side of the market constantly, and that is not how we like to do it right here on the 𝗬𝗙𝗘𝗧 channel. So let's break this down. There is so much to unpack here. The first thing that we really need to dive deep into to talk about, to discuss and look at is how Bitcoin got here, because by looking at the path Bitcoin took to actually get up to this level, that can really tell us a lot about where Bitcoin might go next. And obviously, like I said, I think we're looking at a really good possibility of the breakout coming here, going above $30,000. I've actually got a beautiful chart for you here showing a potential path for Bitcoin to hit that $100,000 target, and we're going to come back to this in just a couple of minutes in this YouTube video. If you are excited, do me a favor and smash those like buttons up right here. Double check that you're subscribed, you've got the bell icon checked, and all of that good stuff. But let's get into the real meat and potatoes of this video. And the first key thing that we've got to really establish and take a look at in this market here is, where was Bitcoin rallying up from? Bitcoin came off yet another low that we managed to set. Obviously, sentiment was absolutely piss poor down here. You guys heard me saying that I'm not worried. Bitcoin forms these deviations all the time. We had this beautiful support level that Bitcoin dropped below, and when everybody was losing their minds, calling for 25k, 20k, 19k, 𝗬𝗙𝗧𝗧 was coming at you guys saying, hey, listen, deviations are Bitcoin's love language. This doesn't look great, but, this is still very typical of Bitcoin's behavior. Let's not lose faith yet. We still haven't swept below this low, so it's not that bad. And we have seen that continuation here. So guys, please keep in mind that when things start getting a little bit tense in the market, if you're watching every shit muncher on YouTube and Discord and Telegram and Twitter and all that stuff, then you're probably not going to be consuming the right information. Just stay right here with your boy and do your own analysis, and that's going to put you in a good place. Because ultimately, guys, when people start to really fade these kind of support areas, people start really fading, meaning like not paying attention to, not believing, not trusting that, higher lows are still a bullish thing in the market. And when you really start to see that that's becoming emotional, that's where you know that actually things are starting to get a little bit charged here, potentially getting ready for, the market to kind of do the opposite. But let's continue to break this down. What we saw was this big run at resistance at the $28,000 level. We were actually stuck here for a decent amount of time. This was the big fake pump off the fake SEC news. Obviously, I was telling you guys that I'm not worried about this, and that I think that this was just an additional retest that will allow Bitcoin an even easier path to get back up to its highs. And by the way, we got up to the absolutely critical 31.5k resistance area now. So, we talk about the big charts that I was showing you in previous videos. We are in such a good position now to break above some of these areas of resistance. Again, we're going to get to that in just a couple of minutes in this YouTube video right here. But what we did see was a really nice follow through from there, and some new resistance established exactly where we expected. These green boxes have stayed where they are for an incredibly long period of time. Just go back and look at any previous YouTube video, and you're going to see that we have been eyeing up these resistance levels like hawks since we were down way before, even at lower levels. And since then, the problem that we've actually started to develop now, ladies and gents, on this chart chart is that we haven't really established that much resistance, especially since we got this breakout from the 28.8K range here. When we kind of got above this 28.6K line, this yellow line right here, it was a pretty quick run up to the $30,000 level, which is exactly what we expected. So that didn't take us by surprise whatsoever. But then we didn't really hang around here for long. We actually just very quickly from here managed to break up. This was 2.5 days later, nearly 3 days, and we got our next breakout higher. And then again, we just gapped the next range as well, which is again exactly what we expected, right? We know that when we break one of these boxes, we're going up to the next level. This is very, very standard technical analysis. We know that when we lose an area of support like this green box, we're probably going down to the next one, which is the next green box. That's just how TA always is. We know this because we've studied basic fundamentals of technical analysis. We've read page 1, chapter 1 of technical analysis books. You've been inside of the 𝗬𝗢𝗥𝗙𝗚 Academy course because you joined 𝗬𝗢𝗥𝗙𝗚 VIP. You got the course for free. If you don't already know how to do that, then the steps are on screen right now. You've got a link to directly message me, or you can join my Telegram group. Just click on my name and click message, and that's it. Ask me how to join. We'll get you inside. So there's a lot, that we've used to actually learn the absolute basics of price action technical analysis, which is that, yeah, if you break one area of resistance, you're probably going to rise up to the next one. And that's exactly what we did here. But again, forming an issue where we've moved up perhaps a little bit too quickly. So, we talk about a very short term now and what might actually happen next. Well, look, it's clear that we found resistance at our key area of resistance right here. This is more or less exactly where Bitcoin topped out. On one occasion, we did get this fake out all the way up to 31.9, but it's really the same thing. We topped out in the same range here, and that does potentially call for some sort of a pullback. So we can actually start looking at some of our key indicators now to show us where that, support might be, right? I mean, if we're going to come back down, then hopefully we want to capture a little bit of support. And what we can actually do right here is throw a couple Fibonacci's on this chart to take a look at what that might look like. So I want to draw your attention to this one right here on this chart that I've got for you guys. We're on the 1 hour time frame right now, and we're basically just drawing this Fibonacci retracement more or less from the low that we started this rally at. If we take a look at this rally, I know you can't see this number, but it started off at about this was 26.5 and this low was 28.2. So it really depends on where you want to draw this Fibonacci from. On this chart, we've drawn it from 28.2. And we've got this 382 retracement right now sitting at the $30,000 level. On the 1 hour time frame, that lines up perfectly with some of our Ichimoku support right here, which is absolutely fantastic. So that's going to be very reliable, I think. And the reason that I think that's going to be reliable, if we zoom in a little bit closer onto the 1 hour time frame to take a nice close look at this area of support, the reason that I think this is going to be reliable is that, it kind of lines up with some existing areas that we knew were important on the chart. We already knew that this was an important level. Like I said, I mean, if you just zoom out and you look at the price interactions that Bitcoin had with this particular green box at the $30,000 level, let's just wait for the chart to load up with my archaic internet for some reason. I have no idea why my internet is playing up like this. Bear with me. Let me see if I can fix this really quick just while on video for you guys. Hopefully we're all back to normal now. And if we do take a look at we've just refreshed. Yeah, if we do take a look at this 1 hour, at this green box right here, again, there's just a lot of, kind of key reversal action happening here, a lot of support, a lot of resistance as well. We kind of drop below it. We start finding resistance. We found resistance over here. So it's a very clear level that we see these SR flips, okay? SR meaning support to resistance flips. So that's absolutely fantastic. That's exactly what we want to see. And it's beautiful that this level does indeed line up with one of our most reliable indicators, which is the Ichimoku cloud. And then even more, it also lines up with that Fibonacci retracement, which is, and by the way, the 0.382 and the 0.618 Fibonacci levels, in my experience and the experience of most other people, is going to be the most reliable area of support on the Fibonacci, retracement tool that we've got here. So that is an absolutely great starting point for the chart right here, very clearly showing us that, we have got some really nice confluence right here, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, if we do take a look at where some of our EMAs are, we're going to start to see a little bit more confluence around these areas. If we look at it on the 1 hour time frame, the bottom of our EMA ribbon sits right there. If we look at it on the 4 hour time frame, the top of our EMA ribbon sits right here. So this is what I think is going to be a little bit more important. And typically, especially after we hit these big areas of resistance, you are going to see that the price pulls itself into the EMA ribbon, or the EMA ribbon pulls itself into the price, or like I've drawn here, both things happen. So I think, again, we're looking at both. I said the same thing to you guys previously when we were all the way up here. I was basically telling you guys, look, the price is probably going to pull itself down. The EMA is going to pull itself up. They're both going to meet. And when they meet, good things happen. And that is exactly down to a fucking T, ladies and gents. That is exactly what happened on this chart right here. So these technicals do work. You guys know I've said this a couple of times. There are a handful of people that act like TA doesn't work, that trading is gambling, and so on. I promise you, ladies and gents, when people say that, that is more of a reflection of them. They are just bad traders, and they think that by extension everybody else is just lucky. It's not how it works, mate. You know that is, and you will have a very clear understanding of that if you've been watching this channel for any reasonable amount of time. I think my glasses are kind of like wonky. It's kind of distracting. You know, you'll have a very good understanding of that if you've been watching this channel for any period of time. You know, this is very much an art. This is very much a science, and we are applying probabilities as well. So I think the probability element is where people really start to get thrown off, because as humans, as emotional creatures, which people who are bad traders are very emotional, you know, you typically can't, you know, kind of understand that. You can't really wrap your head around it. And that's great, you know, because people like you and I can start making money off them. That's just the nature of these markets. But, you know, this is what we're working with, and you can choose to be aware of this or not. But these factors are still at play, and these TA tools do certainly work. So very nice support starting to build up in this $30,000 range here, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Now, obviously, I just want to carry on with this in a second, but if we do manage to get this breakout, and actually if we take a look at this on a larger time frame, like let's say the weekly right now, one thing that is very clear, ladies and gents, is that this is the cusp of a potentially very, very big move. I mean, when you get the chart consolidating for a really long time, when you get strong rejections off the same level and then you get back up to them again, we already know that the likelihood of that breakout coming is very high, or it just definitely does increase. You know, we've seen what happened the previous times that Bitcoin blew past this orange line here. I mean, this was a 30% move. The next time that this happened, it was fucking gargantuan. It was 85%, basically doubled. The next times that we were finding support off this level, I mean, we were seeing a minimum of like 30% moves to the upside. Over here, we more than doubled again. So we know that this is a really important area of support, resistance on the chart. And again, just the fact that we are constantly testing it really does put us in a powerful position to break up above it. The amount of trading opportunities that will present themselves in this market, if this does happen, are fucking mind-blowing. You know, there's no other way to put it. I am certainly going to be most interested in trading these moves on the exchanges that I've linked for you guys down below. Bybit remains my top exchange in the market. It's the best place to be in the cryptocurrency space if you are interested in trading, and you can get up to $30,000 by signing up and trading using my link down below. So all you've got to do is use that link, sign up, start trading. That is it, and you are going to get up to $30,000 deposited into your account from Bybit as a thank you, as a sign-up bonus, whatever you want to call it. And you can trade with that money. So anything that you do with that $30,000 is your choice, and any profits that you generate with it are yours to keep, which is really cool. Additionally, CoinW, another beautiful exchange based out here in Dubai, is actually offering you guys up to, not up to, they are offering you exactly $50 in free money just when you open a futures account using my link down below. That's it. You don't even need to make a deposit. You don't even need to start trading. You're just getting a free $50 credited into your account, and you can trade with it, which is super cool. And their futures bonus goes a little bit higher than Bybit's as well. So just these two links together are giving you 60K in bonuses. And BingX, because they're fucking BingX, is taking that fucking 4 steps further, or 4.5 steps further, giving you up to giving you over 130K in bonuses. And this is a great exchange for trading traditional finance. You can trade stocks like Tesla, Apple, you can trade commodities, gold, Forex, and all that. So we'll get to these in a little bit, but check out these top 2 links for sure. There are huge opportunities to be had with these links. Just a lot of free money to trade with. You want this free capital to help give you these head starts. You know, one of the reasons that people look to borrow money when they trade is because you just make more money if you're starting with more money to begin with. But these exchanges are giving that to you in an extremely accessible, easy way. So that is well worth taking advantage of. So if we do come back to the video here and talk a little bit about Bitcoin's potential retracement, I think this is really important before we start getting excited about the upside. You know, a retracement is very much due. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to happen, you know, but we've rallied up, more or less, without a big correction. We take a look at this just to put this in perspective. This was a 9-day 7.2% correction. Over here, granted, we had a massive correction. This was an 8 to 6% correction, but it only lasted 3 days. And really, the price only traded up here for a matter of minutes. So realistically, this was more like a 2% correction, and it only lasted 2 days. So this kind of helps put us in perspective, kind of what we're dealing with here. We saw a decent sized correction back here. This one, in terms of time, was a 6-day correction, and we went down by 5%. But this is actually even more of a big deal when you look, we set this high right here. How long until we breached the high? How long until we got above the high? This was 2 weeks, ladies and gents. This was 12 days for Bitcoin to breach that high. On the next occasion here, for Bitcoin to breach that high, it took another 2 weeks. But from this high to breaching it, it took 3 days. And this is actually a really good way of starting to visualize and understand the speed with which this market is moving. Okay, when the market starts moving really quickly, when the market starts going up without establishing any resistance, that is your clear sign that the market is moving much faster than it was before. And that's super fun and that's super exciting. And it's great if you're trading these markets like I am. You're making a fuckload of money when stuff like that is happening. But of course, the other side of this coin is you got to be super well aware of the fact that actually, we are going to be looking at a situation where, if you're moving up too quickly, you're going to have a pretty easy opportunity to fall as well. And, you do have to be very, very aware of that so that this kind of thing doesn't take you by surprise, so that this kind of thing doesn't actually cause issues for you. So this is something that's really important to keep in mind. It's been, just 2-3 days and we already got that breakout, from this high that we set until we swept it just earlier today. It was again 2.5 days. Very, very quick for Bitcoin to get above these highs. And that really shows us that we haven't had a bigger correction for quite some time now. So does that mean that we're due for one now? Not necessarily, but I would say yes. I would say that, this is definitely the time that you kind of should start, gearing up, preparing yourself for a slightly larger, slightly longer term correction in this market right here. And you can see why. I mean, the last time that we got up here, we fell down, pretty quickly, down by 12% in 10 days and down to the absolute low. It took us 62 days to drop by 62%. And then to breach that high, it took us 70 days, right? So, I mean, this really shows you that basically at this general price area, this is where big corrections happen. This is really important. You've got price areas like this one right here where, yeah, you do get big, corrections, but they're not that bad. I mean, we got rejected here and then we got back up the next day and then, 4 days later and, 9 days later. I mean, it's really, the gap between each of these attempts at the resistance levels are not spaced out very much. It's just a couple of days over here compared to a couple of months over here, right? So we know that this range is where all of the heavy, scary, big resistance is on the chart. And that is really useful to keep in mind. The last time that we came up to this price level, I mean, it was a struggle, guys. I mean, we did manage to hold on here for 3 entire weeks. But from there, I mean, from the absolute high down to this low right here, it was, 2.5 weeks, we're down by 10%. Down to the absolute low, it took us 2 months and we were down by 21%. So this really helps to put into perspective that off these price levels, the price levels that Bitcoin is at right now, Bitcoin saw very long-term corrections and very steep corrections. Okay, those are two really, really important things to keep in mind. So if you're of the camp now that Bitcoin is definitely getting that breakout, that Bitcoin is definitely going to just consolidate a little bit and then get above the 30K level, you might be getting a little bit too excited. I'm not saying that that's not going to happen. I think that if Bitcoin has ever had a chance to do that with the 30K resistance level, that time is right now. I think that Bitcoin is best set up to break out above the 30K level now compared to any time in its history before, within this bear market. So anytime within the last year, basically, this is Bitcoin's best opportunity to do so. However, I do still think when you look at the strength of these pullbacks, when you look at how low they took Bitcoin and how long it took Bitcoin to get back up here, let's not be too overexcited now. The move that I was telling you I'm expected has happened. And now that move has happened, I still expect us to stay with this uptrend. I don't see why that wouldn't happen. In fact, if anything, my resolve is getting even stronger with each day. And you guys have heard me develop that over these YouTube videos. I mean, the analysis is very consistent. You got to understand there is the game with YouTube with the way the YouTube channels market themselves and, clicking on videos and stuff like that. We got to play the game a little bit. But at the same time, if you're watching these videos, if your IQ is anything above fucking 80, you'll understand that we are keeping very consistent analysis on this YouTube channel. Because, I mean, I'm making money off the market. I'm not, there's no bullshitting going on here. Like I have to, I have to have solid opinions and be able to stick to them in the market in order to make money. And this is not happening by accident. That's why I was able to pull off the same gain with Tron. So that is absolutely, great evidence that, you do have to stay, kind of, I don't want to say like stuck in your opinions, but you need to have good, judgments, good analysis on the market so that you're able to stick to it. If your analysis is not good, you won't be able to stick to it. That's really important. So, now that this move I was telling you I'm looking for has happened, I do think that a pullback could be in play. Now, let's talk a little bit more about where this pullback could go. What I think is really exciting now is this one-day Ichimoku cloud has officially closed up and turned into support, which is absolutely fantastic. So we are going to be able to use this support if Bitcoin hangs down at these levels toward the end of November, which is absolutely fantastic because that is about 1 month away at this stage. And if Bitcoin decides to have a much longer term correction, something that looks a little bit like this, something that mimics this drop, something that mimics this drop, if Bitcoin is going to do something similar to that right now, it's going to have great support. The last time Bitcoin managed to get this next rally up, it came off the Ichimoku cloud. So this is a really good sign. One of the things that we want to see is that over time, Bitcoin is finding higher lows in the market. And by the way, we actually did that. If we take a look at the last low, the first low that Bitcoin set, it was at this yellow line. The next low that Bitcoin set was over here. So granted, it's not a big difference. It is not a big difference, but we are not punching below these lows, and that is a good sign. It's the same thing on the highs, ladies and gents. If we take a look at the high that we set right here, look at that, and then the next high slightly higher, the next high perhaps slightly higher, I don't know, it's hard to say, but what's clear, even though it's small, it is small, what's clear is that we are setting higher low, because what you got to understand, ladies and gents, is that we've got this low. Everybody knows that Bitcoin printed this low at 24.6, and so 24.8, and so naturally, you're going to have people trying to front run the market. And if people are front running the market the next time that we come back down to this area of support, if people are front running, if people are getting excited and wanting to jump in before we revisit that low, they're setting even more buy orders at, let's say 24.7, or I'm sorry, 24.9 or 25K, then that's telling you that there is a good amount of bullish bias down at these support levels. Okay, so that's a really good sign. And when it's happening on the upside, it's telling us the same thing. It's telling us that whereas people got exhausted up here in the market, the next time people were willing to buy at even higher levels. There was even more of the bullish energy that we want in the market at those times. So that was absolutely fantastic. So daily Ichimoku cloud looking great here. Also lining up with a very important area of support on the chart. This is exactly where Bitcoin was struggling for a very long time. Once we slipped below this area in the middle of August, it took us so long to get above this level, really to clearly, significantly, with real price action get above this level. It took Bitcoin over 2 entire months to do that. So that really tells you a lot about how formidable this area of resistance was, and by extension, how useful it could be as support. Now, that is quite low. It's kind of the only thing that sucks a little bit about this, particular support area is that Bitcoin would have to drop a fair bit just to get back down there. Let me see if I can find a nice clean chart to illustrate this for you guys. Let's go ahead and use this one. We're gonna just move this line a little bit lower, and I just want to throw a Fibonacci retracement right off this low to Bitcoin's current high, and we can start to see that we have got very, very interesting Fibonacci levels right here. Our 618 level lining up with the 27.3 area, our 382 lining up with the 28.8 area. This is obviously a critical area that we've already known about for quite some time. 28.8 was where Bitcoin was finding this kind of more micro area of resistance. I've already got a green box here. This green box makes a little bit more sense if we zoom in. It's this green box right here. You can see Bitcoin was clearly getting some big rejection wicks over here. And then when we finally managed to get above this resistance level, it was just a blast off to the upside here. So that's where our Fibonacci sits on this chart back here. So that's well worth keeping in mind. And if we do actually, let's go ahead and show some more Fibonacci levels Let's see if we've got anything else that's particularly interesting showing up right here. Let's bring up the 0.5, 236, 786, and we have got the 28.1, the 29.7. Nothing crazy, to be honest, guys. I think that the main level that's going to be really interesting is this 382 level right here at 28.8. So that's going to be quite interesting to watch out for, as we look at this kind of longer term Fibonacci retracement. And if we bring this back to, kind of where some of this rally really kicked off, we're now starting to see this lining up with some of the levels that we are a little bit more familiar with. The 618 level lining up with that 28.4 level, which is more or less the same key resistance that Bitcoin was stopping at. We got that big wick over here. We got that wick over here just below the Fibonacci level. So there's some clear, support to be found down here if Bitcoin does manage to get a big retracement off this level here. Obviously, this might not be the high. And if Bitcoin punches above this high, we're going to have to redraw this Fibonacci to be slightly higher. So, we're going to look at this as time goes on. And obviously, if you're subscribed to this YouTube channel, you're going to know exactly what I'm seeing as I'll just keep on posting this on the channel for you guys. I want to divert your attention a little bit over to some of the more real world markets to see how they might be affecting Bitcoin. Today, the dollar index saw a big drop down, and I think that could be a big reason for Bitcoin rising up. And this actually puts Bitcoin in a really, really good position. One of the things that you've heard me talk about on this YouTube channel is that when the market is bullish, we're going to respond at the very minimum in a neutral way to bearish things, or we will even respond in a bullish way to things which should be bearish, right? And one of the things which should be bearish for Bitcoin is the dollar actually rising up. But what we've seen is that while the dollar has risen up and formed these little rallies here, Bitcoin has actually been incredibly strong. Now, one of the things that is clearly bullish for Bitcoin, one of the things that is clearly good for Bitcoin is if the dollar is getting weaker. And on this day, no coincidence whatsoever, we have seen a small red day for the dollar, 0.5% down, and a big green day for Bitcoin, 0.3% up, with a big daily candle, by the way. And these numbers are somewhat misleading. If we look at the candle low to the high, we're up by 5% just today. So I mean, we're definitely in a good position here. We're definitely in a position, I think, which really allows Bitcoin to potentially shine right here, because when the dollar is strong, Bitcoin is strong, and when the dollar is weak, Bitcoin is very strong. So it's almost like there's no losing for Bitcoin at the moment. Like I said, that might not stay this way. One of the things we got to do is come back over to the 4Flies dashboard and just really pay attention to metrics like the Fear and Greed Index. We have now tipped above 50. We're still very much in neutral territory, but we have tipped above 50. So we are starting to see a little bit more of a bullish sentiment in the market. And obviously, this number is not even up to date. If we go ahead and look at this Fear and Greed Index right here, we've still got 5 hours until this figure actually updates. And if we start seeing that we're looking at a reading of like 60 and above, 65, 70, and so on, then that's going to be really important. That's going to really show us that the people are starting to become very bullish in the market. Now, one of the good things is that Binance retail dummies are actually really not buying this and really starting to feel like we are looking at a big pullback now. So obviously, they don't tend to perform particularly well. We're also seeing that the mix of retail and top traders on Bybit are more or less neutral, slightly more bullish. So when you see a big discrepancy where Binance is significantly in one direction and Bybit is clearly in the other direction, it is typically, I don't know what it is, guys. It's just a Binance bug. When you trade on Binance, you're a bit of a dummy. When you trade on Bybit, I don't know. I don't make the rules, but this is what I've seen. This has been my own experience. Bybit is just the superior exchange. So again, like I said, go ahead and check it out with that beautiful 30K bonus. Like I said, guys, you don't have to do anything other than start trading using my link, and they will give you that free money in your account to trade with. Anything that you do, any profits you generate are yours to withdraw. They're also giving you 0% spot trading fees. So if you want to buy, sell, trade shitcoins to your heart's desire, you're never going to pay a fee on that, which is absolutely fantastic. And by the way, if you are a shitcoin holder, if you are an altcoin holder, you can actually trade the Bitcoin derivatives. You can trade any derivatives on Bybit right here, because they've got what's called a unified trading account. So let's say that you hold a lot of XRP because your decision making is absolutely fucking shot and you want to keep holding your XRP, but you want to trade the markets. You don't have to sell that XRP into USDT or into Bitcoin or USDC or whatever. You can actually trade the market straight with your XRP holdings. So that is really, really cool. And as far as I know, someone correct me if I'm wrong, Bybit is the only major exchange that does this. So that is really cool. Obviously, by the way, I want to highlight that, if you live in the UK, US, or other countries like that, you're not allowed to use these exchanges. You're not allowed to use any of them. So please make sure that you are following the laws in your particular country. And like I said, guys, if you don't even want to make a deposit, you don't even want to start trading, and you want free cash, I can't blame you. It's fucking cool that you can even do this. All you've got to do is open a futures account with CoinW using my link down below, and they will give you up to $50 for free to trade with. So you don't have to do anything for this. Just open up your account, start trading with your free $50. Any profits you generate, you can withdraw. Super, super cool offer there. Very unique. To be honest, I don't know how long they're going to run this for. I know it's not a massive amount, but this is going to add up. A lot of you guys have already taken advantage of this. A lot of you guys have taken advantage of this. So please do get in before they close this off. Anyway, if we do bring it back to the chart here, DXY clearly showing us that it is dropping down a little bit now, and it is in this kind of support area. So this is probably where we would expect a little bit of a bounce. But the dollar, we're not expecting kind of pure price action here with nice bounces and then kind of consolidation and going higher. I think, look, if we already got a bounce and the dollar is right back down here, we're probably looking at a bit of a dump here, perhaps even a deviation above this area of resistance and then back down into the pits of hell for the dollar. Certainly wouldn't be surprising. I don't know which way this is going to go, to be honest with you guys, but it is something I'm going to keep on watching. The S&P 500, interestingly, has been performing pretty badly as well, though. We have seen a bit of a move up today with the dollar dropping. So again, that's what we're going to expect. But over the last few days, they haven't actually, these last few days haven't treated the S&P 500 particularly well. We are starting to look at being in a bit of a tense position. So this is something, of course, that I'm going to continue to monitor. There's nothing I can do with this right now, but as soon as I start seeing a nice opportunity opening up in this index market right here, I will certainly be looking to trade it. And like I said, BingX actually gives me access to traditional finance markets like that. So that is very, very cool indeed. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that while this continues on in the market as well. I'm going to get back to Bitcoin in just a second, but before I do want to cover Ethereum with you guys. It's not looking as strong as Bitcoin. Bitcoin, to give you guys a sense of perspective here, managed to get up to this level, right? Like this is Ethereum's respective level to where Bitcoin is at right now. Bitcoin's at the top of the range. This is Ethereum's top of the range, okay? It's the $2,000 level. And we are still a good 30% away from that. We're sitting at about 1,700. These last few, days have been good for Ethereum, but it's just not great. Ethereum basically is moving, but it's moving slower than Bitcoin. Now, granted, that's not out of the ordinary. That's actually exactly what we would expect if you are watching these YouTube videos while we were talking about the Bitcoin dominance chart. We're right back up to the high that we set only 3 days ago right here. So, this is clearly a chart that really wants to keep on moving up. And basically why this is happening, I think it's quite clear, is that, people are just very bullish on Bitcoin right now. And as a result, consequently, there isn't a whole lot of interest for altcoins, and so we are starting to see these altcoins get pulled up a little bit, some better than others, but on the whole they are still losing against Bitcoin. Even Tron, even though Tron has been an incredibly strong performer, one of the only strong performers of the majors. No surprise that we picked it when we started to trade it. It has also been lagging behind a little bit. So, even when you've got the strongest pick of the bunch, Bitcoin is still going to be leading the pack, and it's going to take the biggest slices of that cake. So, I think this is really, really important to be keeping in mind. Ethereum against Bitcoin, very, very clearly just continuing to stay in this weak place. For me, one of my favorite trades is to sell my Bitcoin for Ethereum, to buy Ethereum with my Bitcoin, and I think that I might actually be getting a better entry level over these next days and weeks, especially if we see this big breakout coming to Bitcoin. Because the thing is that if Bitcoin manages to get the big breakout above the $30,000 level, well then I think it's going to be pretty fair to expect that, basically the same as what's happening right now, Bitcoin is going to look like the much more attractive asset. You know, the thing you've got to keep in mind, ladies and gents, is that if you're in a market which has been tough, has been shaky, you've had really rough waters, if you're in that kind of a market, which is very much what we've been in for a very long time now, and then you start to see that one particular asset, and also the safest asset, is performing pretty well, well, you're not going to want to take risk in all of the other, kind of riskier assets, and that's what's happening here, is that, people have had a really rough time. These altcoins have lost a lot of value, and they're clearly not recovering it quickly, while Bitcoin is actually performing well. So what you're seeing is that the safe haven asset is performing really strong. You don't need to take risk to make money. That's what's happening here. But what we see is that Bitcoin tends to rally very hard. Bitcoin tends to rally really high, and then it kind of stabilizes, and now you've made so much money that you're actually starting to feel very smart, you're starting to feel very greedy, and as a result of that greed, as a result of those feelings of being smart, feeling like a king, feeling like whatever, you're willing to take on more risk. And that's when you start to see the money flowing out of Bitcoin and into, lower down the ladder towards Ethereum. Ethereum starts to pump, and then the altcoins, and so on and so forth. So this is something which I think we could definitely be seeing play out in this market as well. And I've got a really interesting chart for you guys for Ethereum as well. Go ahead and take a look at this, which will potentially show us what Ethereum could be gearing up to pull off over here. We've been in this fairly long-term falling wedge pattern here. It's lasted about 203 days up to this point now. We're on the weekly chart right now. And this wedge spanned 22% at the beginning. So if we're looking at that kind of breakout starting from around over here, that is going to put us at the top of the range for Ethereum. So, even though Ethereum hasn't been, a particularly strong performer recently, I think that if Bitcoin is able to continue to impress us and then, kind of consolidate, that's going to put Ethereum in a really good position to, while Bitcoin is cooling off, Ethereum just fucking skyrockets, just really, really picks up a lot of steam, gets back to the top of this range. And, by that point, if Bitcoin has broken the range, I'm probably going to expect that Ethereum is going to break the range. And that's when I think these tides are really going to shift. That's when I think that you're really going to start to see some very, very big opportunities with the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. The last time that I bought Ethereum, I can't actually remember where it was. It might have been it was honestly somewhere around the lows, and then I traded it right up to the top, just flipping it for a really nice big, I don't know what the number was. I can't remember now. This was, literally a year ago now. So it's quite hard to remember that far back. But I made a very, very nice textbook trade on Ethereum, basically following the same principles that I'm outlining to you guys right now. And the good news is that, we're basically back down to that same level again. So this is where I think it's actually looking really nice to, take advantage of this. And like I said, I will be doing that on Bybit. I also want to highlight to those of you that are using Bybit, if you do want to get access to my trading package that I put together, which I was actually selling for even hundreds of dollars. It was an interesting way we were pricing it. I won't get into it right now. You can follow these steps on screen right here. If you already have a Bybit account, or even if you've just signed up using my link, this will give you a really interesting trading book, ebook that I put together. I narrated it, so you get an audiobook and a video course that accompanies the same product. You're going to get it for free just by being signed up and registered with Bybit. So definitely do check that out following these steps. The tips that I've outlined in that book, the psychological hacks that I've used, that I've been using for years in the market, that I have broken down for you in baby steps in that book, are incredibly valuable during markets like what we're at right now. The thing about this market now, you can see it on the charts. You can see Bitcoin being on the edge of a breakout, Ethereum being down to a critical area of support, the dollar potentially getting ready to roll off a cliff, Bitcoin already making me so much money, and so many other members of my VIP group, and just so many other so many guys that are watching the YouTube channel, including you, just making so many of his money, across the altcoin market as well. One thing that is very fucking clear with all of these things in mind is that this right now is the time where money is being made. If this train has left and you're not on it, you really need to take a step back and kind of consider why that happened, because the worst thing to do, ladies and gents, and I know you're going to really feel the pain when I tell you this, the worst thing to do is sit through fucking 8 months of this bullshit, and it has been nearly 8 months now. It's going to be 8 months and 10 days. The worst thing to do is sit through 8 months of this fucking bullshit and then not make money at the end of it. You want to be making money ideally the whole time or as much as you can, and certainly during times like right now where the money making opportunities are easy. And quite frankly, ladies and gents, even though it might be painful to hear that, these opportunities have not been difficult. I only go for easy trades. I like to keep my money safe, and as a result, I only prioritize taking the easy, safe trades. And that's why I've been able to perform incredibly well. So if you haven't been positioned to do that, then you've really got to take 5-10 steps back and think about what your approach has been and why you haven't been able to take advantage of that. The free ebook, audiobook that you're going to be getting by following these steps will help you a long way in getting there. And of course, the 𝗬𝗢𝗥𝗙𝗚 VIP group, which you can join by following these links in the description, specifically this direct contact link. You can ask me how to join. This is also what a lot of our members have used to become or stay incredibly successful in this market. Obviously, it's not foolproof. Not everybody performs incredibly well after joining. This is still entirely down to you. But these are the tools that have been incredibly successful for a lot of people, and they are available to you guys right now. This one is free. All you've got to do is be registered under my link on Bybit, and you're set. So there you go, guys. Again, one more time, obviously, be mindful of your country. If your country doesn't allow this, you can't do it. You're going to be IP blocked anyway. You can't even access these exchanges. So go fucking write to your congressman or MP if you're upset about that. But, this is what we're dealing with. So those of you that are allowed, please do check it out. And I will see you all in the next video. So thank you all for watching. You know what to do. Hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, do all of that good stuff. I want to thank you all for all of the advice on the dog. I mentioned this to you towards the end of one of my recent YouTube videos. I'll talk to you a little bit more about it later, but your advice was super fucking helpful. I love you guys so much for even taking the time to write that stuff out for me. It's so nice to know that I can just kind of honestly, like, it's really cool. I fucking love you guys. Like, I can just kind of get behind the microphone, talk shit about Bitcoin for 30-40 minutes today, and then just ask you guys for life advice. And you guys are just going to give it to me. So I love it. Thank you all so much. I love this kind of like give and take. Like, I'm giving you guys some cool analysis. You're willing to help me out. It really is much appreciated. I read every single comment. I reply to a lot of them too. So it really does help quite a lot. I do want to just ease a couple of the concerns that some people expressed, because pets are a soft subject. I'm a fucking massive pet guy. I've been a pet owner for like 10 years, 12 years now, and I'm 22, so like it's been the majority of my life that I've been a pet owner, but only a cat, so really nothing similar to a dog, but I'm a massive pet guy, always have been. The living conditions that I have are very well suited to a dog. It's the only reason I started to consider it. I know a couple of people were concerned about Dubai, being hot. That is definitely a valid concern. It is a big issue that you must be aware of, otherwise your dog will fucking die. So obviously that's really important. But people get by. There are ways to work around it. The bottom line is that you just limit it. You keep it super short. You keep it quick. And then keep the exercise inside the house. There's a lot of considerations that people highlighted, and I just want to just in case, because I know, like I said, this is a soft subject. I'd be fucking concerned too if I heard a 22-year-old that travels all the time talking about getting a pet. I'd be like, the fuck are you talking about? Trust me, all these things have been considered. So thank you all very much. I will see you all in the next video, and I will give you guys some more analysis of what I'm seeing. With that, guys, have a great rest of your day. Make sure you've shown this video some love if you've appreciated it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.